Hi there, my name is Clark Collis. I'm a senior writer at Entertainment Weekly magazine. We're here at the 2019 EW Comic-Con video studio.
I'm sorry, did you have to read your name off the card as well?
Presented by, it actually says Triple X. One of these times I'm just going to say, I'm Triple X.
Yes,
Forgive me.
you are Triple X.
We're here at the Comic-Con video studio presented by Toyota Corolla with the cast, with the two stars of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. How's
we
it
were
going?
right the first time. We are kind of the cast of the movie.
Well, that's
we were the
not
only
true at
two
all.
without whom they couldn't have made the movie, right? Everyone else kind of interchangeable, but we definitely needed him.
Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. This is how many years since Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? Is it 17? Something like that?
18 by the time it comes out. We did Strike Back in 2001.
Okay.
Then it was Clerks 2 in 2006, and that was the last time we were like Jay and Silent Bob in a movie in real life, in live action.
This is mostly going to be a math-based interview.
A little bit. You're watching me do the figures in my head where I'm like, why didn't I study harder with basic subtraction?
So here we are with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, which is out in October. Jason, maybe you could sort of set up the film a little bit for us.
Oh, please don't ask me. I'm horrible at that. Seriously.
No, he's good. He's the talky one. I'm the quiet one.
Well, not for the movie is. I'm still afraid about giving stuff away. Even though the trailer came out, people keep asking me stuff. I'm like, well, do they know? Have they shown? So,
sure.
But yeah, it's Jay and Silent Bob go to Hollywood to stop the Blunt Man and Chronic reboot from happening. On the way, hijinks happens, and Jay finds out something very crazy.
You can say it. It's in the trailer. He's a dad. Jay finds out he's a dad. This time around, Jay and Silent Bob encounter fatherhood in a big bad way. We're both fathers. I got a kid who's 20. He's got a kid that's 4. It felt like if we were going back to the Jay and Silent Bob well, and there was a desire to because it was fun. It was a simpler time in our life and stuff, and a good time and whatnot. But in a world where we were doing it, I was like, it has to make sense. Like the joke was, we're making the whole same movie all over again. But like that joke would only go so far if we literally did just that. So about 20 minutes into the movie, while the main plot's still going on, the real plot kicks in, which is we get to Chicago, we meet up with Justin, Shannon Elizabeth's character again, and he finds out that he has a love child that he never knew about. So then we spend the rest of the movie being dads, my two dads kind of thing.
And was it, how easy or difficult was it to kind of slip back into the characters?
Oh, it was easy, but harder the first day than I expected. I thought I was confident. I thought I could spit the dialogue out like no problem. He wrote a lot more dialogue in this movie than the last movie, and we went 2 hours over that day. So, but again, I got through it.
Some
but
real
I'm
Michael Cimino stuff going on there.
It took me by the end of the day, like it really soaked in, and I realized like, wow, like there's a lot of dialogue. I forgot how much, and I really need to memorize and make sure I have it all down. Even this, like I forgot when you're off camera that when someone else is talking, you have to not just be like.
Yeah, dead-faced and stuff.
And so, like, all that stuff, it took like a day for me to get that. But after the day, then it was right back in the business, I feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He crushed it. I mean, it's his movie, and he's grown as a performer. This is a guy who started in Clerks as basically a human puppet. He would sit next to me and I'd stick my hand up him and be like, snooch to the nooch. And we've gotten to watch him grow as an actor for 25 years. He went from, like, me going, say it like this, do it like this. So we were on set during this movie, and like I'm in post cutting it together, and I see little things that he did that I wasn't aware of on the day that are completely nuanced performance beats. That somebody who like didn't train to be an actor, was just my friend from where we grew up, didn't necessarily have access to, but over the course of 25 years in front of a camera, he's become a professional. Like it's fun to see. So he carries the movie incredibly well, and then his stuff with Harley, who plays his daughter. Is really touching. Like you're gonna. Sounds weird to say, but you will cry in a Jay and Silent Bob movie, and not because you're like they blew it, it sucks. You're gonna cry because there's like an emotional through line. Like Jay gives like a performance. Like we were shooting Matt's scene, and we had shot a bunch of the movie. Matt Damon. Sorry, I was name dropping.
Right.
See that?
Sure,
Matt.
he's Matt to you.
The only Matt. And so
he's
he
Mr.
was
Damon to me.
Mr. Damon. He came to shoot his scene, and I'd already cut together a bunch of the movie because I'd cut while we shoot. So I was able to show him like Mewes' stuff because he's like, "Let me see something," and I showed him Mewes' like really dramatic stuff, and Matt was like blown away. He was like, "I'm sorry, I thought I was here to make a comedy," and I was like, "It is a comedy, but like there's a heart to it. There's movies like bursting with heart. Considering this is the post-heart attack movie, it was inevitable that this movie would be like a real celebration of life. Like these are all of this isn't my morning after, the three ghosts told me to put things straight.
Right,
this
right,
is me,
right.
Scrooge, going, hey, boy, get me a goose, or whatever the hell happened at the end of that thing. So I'm so delighted. I brought all that energy and all that passion to it, and he matched it. That's a best friend, not just a guy who's like, oh, I'll do it because you wanted to. He did it because, A, he can now, but B, because he knew it was important to me. This is the movie that I survived to make when I was like on the table. I was like, I don't want to die. I wanted to make Jane, Silent Bob reboot. And so once I got clear of the health issues, we went hell-bent into it. Because it had been, prior to that, like 2 years of trying to get it going and stuff. And suddenly there was like, there's no time anymore. I don't know if this will happen again. I want to get this one done. Serves as my masterpiece, and not like it's brilliant. The original definition of the term masterpiece is you would have somebody who trained under a master, and they'd finally present them with like, this is what I've learned under you. That is the masterpiece. This movie, Jane, Silent Bob Reboot, is like basically sums up everything I've learned in 25 years in this business, which apparently isn't much. But I brought like everything we learned in the real world to it. There's a lot of dad stuff in it.
And the trailer dropped yesterday. When I spoke with you a couple of weeks ago for the Comic-Con issue, very cagey you were about who was in it.
Yes.
But the trailer dropped. A lot of the cameos. There's glimpses of people, including your old friend Ben Affleck. And this is the first time you've worked with him.
We haven't worked with Ben since Clerks 2, and like professionally I haven't worked with him, but personally he hasn't been in my life in like 8 years. And we worked together quite a bit, all of us in the beginning. So for years people would be like, "How's Ben?" And like sooner or later I just started putting stuff on Front Street, but like I haven't spoken to him in years.
Right.
I don't really think we're friends anymore and stuff. So he was out of my life completely. And as we headed into this movie, there was no sense of like, I should write Ben in, like back in the old days. And there was a little sadness to that because it's like, oh man, back in the day, we'd bring everybody back together. So we headed into this movie Benless. There was no plan to have Ben whatsoever. But this is a story about entertainment journalism and the power of entertainment journalism. And not just to make a movie better, but to also like save a life. So there's a guy named Kevin McCarthy who interviews people for the news in Washington, D.C. He likes the movies we've done. So every time he sits down with somebody who's been in one of our movies, he always hits him with like a View Askew question. Like if he's mad, he's like, when are they making Good Will Hunting 3? Which was a joke from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So we saw Ben, same thing. For years he's always asking about, hey man, when they make that? This time around he's interviewing Ben at the Netflix junket for that movie that he did, Triple Frontier. And Kevin McCarthy opens with, hey man, like they're doing Reboot. Have they called you yet? And Ben was like, they haven't. Not yet, and I'm available. And so, instantly, Jay's wife, Jordan, produces the movie. She's like, did you see this? Like, Ben says he's available. I was like, that says nice shit to say to junket.
Right.
Like, what is he going to say? Like, I would never work those idiots again. That part of my life is over.
Right. Who is he, Tommy Lee Jones? Anyway,
Exactly. So there was a
lovely
time that
man,
went by where, I just kind of didn't really deal with it or think about it. And then a week later, everyone was like, just reach out to him, man. Reach out to him. Like, come on, what's the harm? I was like, the harm is he might be like, go fuck yourself. And they're like, so what? Like, it didn't seem like he was that guy in that clip. So I sent him a text. First, I composed a tweet because I didn't think I could get in touch with him personally. So I was like, I'll just throw it out into the world. And then Jordan was like, don't do that. That's like incredibly rude. She's going, you've got numbers in your phone. I was like, I haven't checked them in years. They probably don't work. And the first number I texted, I just wrote, is this you? And he wrote back like, who's this? And I said, KS. And he goes like 2 beats. And all of a sudden he writes back, Kevin? With a question mark. And I was waiting for, go fuck yourself. But the next thing was just like, how are you? And we chatted for a second. And then I was like, all right, I'm just going to say this. Like, I was going to put this on Twitter, but here's this thing. I'm just going to text it to you instead. And I'd written this thing where I said, look, like, we're all having a blast rolling around in the past, man. And, like, the only thing missing is you. And normally, I'd live with that. But, like, post-heart attack, I just don't even care anymore. So this is me asking you, like, will you come out and play with us? And I quoted Conan. I was just like, I paraphrased Conan by saying, like, the King Osric, by going, like, there comes a time in a man's life where the gold loses its luster and the throne room becomes a jail or something like that. And all, an old man wants is to make pretend with his old friends and stuff like that. So I sent that. And he sent back, it was funny because I was sitting there going, like, what's he going to say? And I've become insanely overly sentimental since we've stopped, like, hanging out. So I thought he might be like, Kevin needs help. But after a few beats, he wrote back, of course you still think of yourself as a king. And I was like, oh, my friend is back. And he made fun of me, and then we got on the horn, and we started chit-chatting. And I said, hey, man, I got a chance. We didn't even know what he was going to do in the movie. And at one point, we thought maybe we'd have him play, like, Blunt Man or something, but Val was already doing that.
Right.
So I said, well, wait a second. He co-created, like, the characters Blunt Man Chronic.
Yeah.
We could bring him in as Holden. He came in and did an 8-page scene. I wrote an 8-page sequel to Chasing Amy. He's in it. Jason's in it. Joey Lauren Adams is in it. And a few more. And it didn't exist when we started, but when you watch the movie, you can't imagine that movie existing without it. That all came from Kevin McCarthy asking a dopey question like, hey man, have they called you for Reboot? Not only did I get that guy in my movie, and like the scene is fantastic, it's honestly like one of Ben's finest moments of his career. He gave me my friend back.
Yeah.
More important, like I haven't spoken to that dude in 8 years. There's a piece of my heart that was missing. If I wanted to be like mawkish about it, I could say like perhaps the heart attack ... had something to do with the fact that I was missing a piece, and to have that back was everything. Well, that came from entertainment journalism. That's the power of what you do.
We are gods, basically.
You are gods, is what I'm getting at.
Folks, I could talk to you all day. Kevin, I've spoken to you a lot over the years, and I said this to you on the phone, but I'm so glad that you're around to do what you do. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for, but I've been talking to Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, the stars of, now I can't remember the name.
Silent Bob Reboot.
Yes.
Which is out in October, folks. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excellent job.